Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. There was an interview with Chris Algieri on, I think it's called Inside Boxing Live. And as you will be aware, Conor Benn made his comeback, if that's the word, on the card from Orlando, Florida at the weekend. And he won a hard-fought 10-round decision over Rodolfo Orozco. And I didn't realise at the time, but conspicuous by his absence was Chris Algieri on the DAZN US commentary team. And he was interviewed and he talked about this. And apparently he was removed from the broadcast team because of Conor Benn's presence on the card. Now, Chris Algieri has cast aspersions over Ben, saying he feels that when he fought him, he got knocked out. Was it 3 or 4 rounds? He got knocked out. He said that Ben appeared, to be bigger and more powerful, and there was more explosiveness to him. And he was saying, it's kind of been a rumour that Ben is on something. This was an interview he gave a long time ago. Now, Ben was put on that card as a way of kind of sliding under the radar. Again, let's be absolutely clear about this. He has been cleared to fight, but he has not been proven innocent. He has served no time for those failed 2 drug tests. No official time, anyway. You can argue that he was out of the ring, forced out of the ring, and blah, blah, blah. But no. There's been nothing finalised. He failed 2 tests and he's received no punishment. Okay? But he was cleared to fight on a technicality. So to sort of slide him in, 3 or 4 days notice onto that card and then remove Algieri from the commentary team. Look, I'm no big conspiracy theorist. I think most conspiracy theorists are morons. But that's not to say conspiracies don't happen. And this does seem rather conspiratorial when one considers that Algieri simply voiced an opinion. It's not a given that he would have gone on air and made statements, derisory statements towards Ben, that he would have repeated his allegations. He's there to do a job. He has to be professional, and being professional means being objective, not subjective. But it does seem that there's another element to this, which is that there seems to be a concerted effort to silence any kind of dissent against this idea that Ben is innocent. And, if he is innocent, he hasn't proved it. That's not even an argument. He just hasn't. So I'm very curious about this tactic that DAZN and Hearn and Matchroom have, which is, again, another example of completely controlling the narrative and silencing any kind of dissent whenever possible. Because, of course, they can't silence the internet, they can't silence public opinion, but what they can do is, when it comes to news outlets or platforms or journalists, they can limit any criticism that others may have by using whatever power they have at their means. And it seems to me that DAZN did Algieri wrong. Algieri was very, very sort of magnanimous. He was like, well, I knew they'd do it and I didn't mind and I don't care. It's almost like he's saying, well, I had my say, I gave my opinion, and other people can make up their own mind, which I think is a very good attitude to have. But I still don't like the idea that this guy, who did give an opposing view, who did give a view that a lot of us have already expressed, was then removed from a broadcast team simply because Eddie Hearn decided, well, I'm going to slip Conor Benn onto this card and give him a little comeback fight away from the criticism. And we don't want any commentators who may have said anything bad about Conor. So no, you're out, mate. No. This smacks to me of a sort of quiet version of bullying, perhaps, or a quiet version of being quite, well, an insidious version of being, of silencing any kind of criticism. I just don't think it's right. I just don't think it's right at all. And also it illustrates, again, that Eddie Hearn is really not to be trusted. That he will fight his corner for his fighters, but but it's not necessary. He doesn't necessarily put truth, absolute truth, at the top. He puts fighting for his clients, as he puts it, at the top, and that truth, despite everything he says, is kind of lower on the menu, shall we say. So anyway, just a few further thoughts. I think Algieri was hard done by. I think he's entitled to his opinion. I think if there is to be a sensible conversation about this, you have to have all viewpoints aired. I've been very vocal about my view. You may disagree with my view, which is absolutely fine. But the one thing I don't think should happen is that people should be silenced. I suppose nowadays they would call it cancel culture, wouldn't they? Is that the phrase that's always used? It's always existed. It's just a new name for an old thing. But anyway, if you got any thoughts, leave them below. And as always, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Appreciate your time. Bye for now.